Alright, so this is White Boy, also known as Hermes, or the Hermes. And this is something that a lot of people have done in their videos beforehand, but not something that I can really think that is fully what we're doing here. This is a true battle of the builds. First up here, it's me versus the EXALTEDoreo. That's the whole length of the video here, so it's not really anything different. Our first fights are with my sort of strength build, so to speak, versus his heavier build. Yeah, not to put excuses on or anything, but mine is very rusty. As you can see, I go down pretty much instantly within the first 40-45 seconds here. Now, his strength build went on to the next round. We're doing 7v7, 7 of our each top builds, in the 120 range anyway, going against each other. His first build carried on. Now I'm using something that was a dual Pyro, that is still sort of a dual Pyro. I call it, it's just, the name of the build is Quailag, but really, it's sort of, I forgot the name of the video, but if you look on my thing, it's something like the Forgiving Mother, something like that. It's sort of, it's a dark, there's a gold tracer, but then there's the dual Pyro and all that sort of jazz. But it's my original dual Pyro, so I do pretty well with it. You know, his strength build, not to say it's a bad strength build, but all strength builds are pretty slow and lumbering, so, and right there he hits me with a big hit, but I am on a shred of life. He was surprised during the whole thing. He thought I was dead. I thought I was dead, but I stood up. That's sort of what a Pyromancer does, sort of just stands up at the last leg of it, and he's trying to use that shoulder because it's a lot quicker than his other weapons, which is smart, but at the same time, it's not what he needs. That Avalon would be helpful, but I get to roll through that. I don't do some, you know, quick, easy backstab. I just come up and GC him for the win. And that's that. Now moving on to 2v2 here. Each we're on our second player here. This one that he's using is like Faith Mage. I'm just sort of signifying that I'm ready to go, but he's putting on buffs and stuff, so I'm just spit a mist at him. We're going. He doesn't really see what I'm up to, so he's just throwing up some crystal mass here, ready to go, but that's easy to dodge. So is a soul arrow when it's, or soul spear when it's like that anyway. Typically, you have to really time those well and tell them it's more of a time it well and it's going to pay off well. That was a great wrath. Not only did it hit me, but it knocked my fire out of the way. The bead was sort of typical, but not so easy to dodge. That I got super lucky with that like Greatsword explosion. He didn't hit me with that. That literally, like, practically touched my face, but it was just right out of range for it to explode. So I was very lucky with that, and now we're just sort of circling about, trying to decide who's going to go for who here. Do an easy dodge there because we're so far. I got a lucky mid-range Great Combustion. He dodged the fireball well. I'm sort of doing a Chaos Fire Whip there to get the Chaos Storm out. When you're on a higher plane, the Fire Storm will go a little bit farther, so I tried doing something sneaky like that, but it didn't really apply too well, so I just get up close and personal for GC here. Throw fireballs away. Switch out to the melee, hold up the lantern just to sort of quote-unquote intimidate people because, you know, they don't really know what's up when you have the lantern out. It's more so just for show than anything else, but I mean, it's a fun build, but it ends up working well. And that wrath was sort of expected, so it wasn't anything too much, and the Dark Beam was just out of range. It looked like he free-aimed it, because he kind of just went straight down, and normally when it's free-aimed, you look right at him, but it goes down, so you have to always aim up with the Dark Beam. And when he does that, you kind of understand that. I just used a Firestorm, hoping that someone would go forward, but none of them do, and he just sort of didn't even want to get close, not knowing what I had in mind for him. And that we just trade for the win here again. So now it's more on character 2 for me, character 3 for him. His third character, this is his Glass Cannon Mage. And this guy, he cannot take a hit at all, but if he deals damage, it will mess you up. I mean, the Wrath didn't do too much, and the Wake Up, Dark Beam was way too early, but let's see glass cannons are always something you have to be a little wary about. Now, the arena here, we're going to be swapping up throughout the entire place, so we're not going to stick with one area or another, clearly, as we move from Painted World down to Moonlight Forest, which this area, personally, I cannot stand. I think this area is super overrated. I know some people feel that way about the Berg, but I don't even think we have fights in the Berg, so that doesn't even matter, really. I'm just throwing fireballs here because I like to go free aim and then free aim with the fire surge. Yeah, that was, he just dropped it close again. I'm going to roll in for maybe a great combustion. That was basically a free hit, since he had the time to lock onto me. An easy roll through gets out of that. Good time roll gets out of the great combustion. I almost rolled right back into that. That would suck. I would have pissed. Fire surge just to kind of freak him out. That's what fire surge is good for. Walk him right out of range. Dark bead, just because people with magic that have dark bead will rely on it. Not to harsh on his play style, but that's what dark bead ends up being. Tried doing a little early for my fire surge, where it just sprinkles about, but kind of got something else. His homing soul mass took care of that. I was just kind of ignoring him. I was just doing whatever, so he could take care of that. Now I try to throw that to mess with his homing soul mass, but apparently with Dark Souls lag, that Crystal Dragon Breath took care of me, so okay. Now it's the same glass cannon build, and I'm using my build. Its name is Dexter, but that really doesn't matter too much. It's sort of a dark magic pyro build with a washing pole and Caduceus shield, something like that. The sword, if anyone's used it, is ridiculous. If anyone's fought it, they know it's ridiculous. I also have an Armor of Thorns piece on. I think the leggings, so when I roll into people, it damages them a little bit. That was the second fight, because the first fight I used Pursuers, and Pursuers against a glass cannon build isn't fair, so we redid that, and it was still sort of the same results, but a little bit lengthier. Now we're over here in the Painted World again, but a little bit different area, because mixing it up is good in the Painted World, and that first area is not the best. At least it wasn't the Coliseum. The Coliseum sucks. Anyone who thinks otherwise really need to liven it up a bit. That's all I got to say about that. Now, if you guys are noticing, not to sort of take away from the fight that's going on now, you can still pay attention to that, but I took like a 3-4 month break from Dark Souls and sort of chilled out a bit. Although, don't get me wrong, I still think some people are POSs for using certain tactics, and I still think mainstream weapons and usage of certain items are kind of horse shittery, but, you know, I'm not going to bag on them as much. So past videos, you can't really hold me too much for. I mean, we're all sort of bad in some ways. And I decided not to hit him with that dark orb right there. You know, I did finish him off right there. He was really close to dying, and I saw an opportunity, so I took it. But with that dark orb, I didn't want to hit him because he did that cool Artorias flip move, and I didn't want to do that because that's a cool move. But so that was his third character. I'm on my third character. This is his fourth now. His fourth, it's the or excuse me, that was his fourth build that I just took out, the Artorias one. Now he's on his fifth, which is, I want to say, a mage build. Yeah, definitely looking like a mage build with that sword. Now we're just messing about at these stairs here. We're both missing because the tip of the stairs is messing us both up. Me, I'm not playing smart here, not to make excuses for myself, but I wasn't doing exactly what I wanted to be doing. I don't know what I was thinking. I really should have thrown some pursuers on earlier, or at least maybe backed off and threw some pursuers backed up in towards all those little spikes. That way his magic won't hit me. But I just keep engaging them, which they're just waiting for you to mess up, and that's how they're gonna beat you here. And you know, he's able to block me well and get some hits off, just dwindle me down. And a dark orb looked like it was free aimed, but the second one, you know, I was able to roll through. But the dark beat, I walked up and I was way too close for it. So now I'm on to my fourth character now with this next fight. I call it my, I don't know why I called it my burger night. It's actually my 4 knights build. That's what I meant to say. And it's basically one piece of equipment and armor of each of the 4 knights of Gywn. So I have the Ornstein armor, body armor, and spear. Ornstein shield, or no, excuse me, Artorias shield and helmet, Syrian boots, and Dark Tracer, I think, in the right, and then the Go's great bow in the left, and then the Go's gauntlets. So he's a pretty cool build, but he uses the Hornet Ring or Leo Ring. I switch him up, and then Havel's just to wear it all at 120. And although the build isn't bad, it's definitely not good, because the spear does like next to no damage, because I have like minimum requirements for faith, just that way I can use it. And yeah, it's just minimum requirements all around, and it's just so evenly spaced that if it were a level 200 build, I could see it being very, very dangerous. But being at a 120 build, it is just not intimidating at all, apart from appearance alone. Because appearance-wise, he looks like a total G, but otherwise, he is nothing special here. And I try to be all cool and just run at him, but it wasn't enough, because he was able to take me out no problem. So he took me out not only that was the second time with his mage build. Now I'm on to, what is this, number 5 I'm at? Yeah, so this is my dark magic build. And here I am doing a new trick that I learned from one of Jay Blackmill's videos a long time ago, where he's versing the dedicated mage, and where he was using the Alluring Skull, and the Alluring Skull made the homing Crystal Soul Mask not go off immediately. It sort of like delayed it 5 or 10 seconds. And I tried doing that with the Pursuers, and it worked just fine, so I sort of adapted that to every build that uses Pursuers now. And that was some super lag. I said that when I was in game. Not that Soul Spear, but that homing Soul Arrow or whatever it was. I thought that was kind of ridiculous, but whatever, I guess. We're on to this next build. Its name is InMemory, but it's basically like Mr. McBadass. I'm using the Artorias Greatsword, Gywn's body armor, Artorias helmet, and then Armor of Thorns, and I don't remember the gauntlets, unless it's Armor of Thorns as well. Pretty much I'm just using a bunch of like power stuff. So Karmic Justice, Wog, Crystal Soul Spear, or just regular Soul Spear. I think it's Crystal Soul Spear though, and Pursuers. So he's just pretty much all around like a really slow powerhouse. But it's a pretty cool build, and I think this is actually still his mage, which is pretty sad because his mage took out a lot of people of mine. But this is me just trying to get back at that though, because this build is actually not too bad. A little bit of a dark beat hit me there. Him hit me with that laggy soul arrow. Not to blame him or the connector or anything. It does hit quicker than what it shows though. It's really weird. Thinks I'm gonna go in for a roll there, but nope. Get that Pursuers on. Break. Got him with a soul arrow or soul spear. Yeah, it's just a regular soul spear. And then I have the Pursuers ready to go, but of course that soul spear, the mage got taken out really quick with the soul spear. It's a powerful move. Now the next fight here, he's using a pure faith build. Now I'm in for some trouble simply because he put on that great magic barrier. I switch up really quick to the cursed Greatsword of Artorias, just that way he doesn't do the split damage. Maybe, hopefully I can get some extra damage off that way. Now when people put on those, and see I run like a fool here, I should have just run in for the backstab, I could have got him. And, but yeah, this was just all around not too good of a fight here because that didn't do too much damage and the lightning was able to kill me. So it was not too good here. Now we're down to the last couple of fights here. I think this is his 6th guy. Yeah, his 6th guy is still his faith build. I'm using a character I've named Aurora, which is essentially Isolith, so to speak, because it's dual Pyro. And now my dual Pyro, I literally just do that. I mean, I might switch up once in a while to my weapons. Weapons being the Shotel and the Like Fury Sword is the left-hand shoulder on the right. But typically I stick to the right-hand shoulder so I can get behind the shields. Now, this fight here, this is his 6 versus my 7, so if I were to lose, this is it. I'll just do a spoiler alert and say, not that he let me win because I wouldn't say so. Although he meant to walk right there, not do the emit force, because he was like, nah! You know, you guys have all faced input lag like that before. But it could have been a much closer game. And that would have sucked on my part, because I want this to be epic. Now we're on 7v7. His 7th, I want to say, is his quality build. Yeah, it's 40-40 quality. So he can use pretty much any weapon in the game, melee weapon in the game, including arrows, clearly. So it's a bit closer. And just as another spoiler, simply because if you guys look at the time slot down beneath, you see we're like 15, 16 minutes in out of about 20-something minutes. So what we decided to do for these 7 fights, because we both ended up being down to the last leg here, we made this best 3 out of 5, so to speak. It was originally best 2 out of 3, but we were, you know, still just hanging out, so we just kind of stuck it for 3 out of 5. And it just ended up working better that way, I feel. And this guy, I forgot if I mentioned his name earlier, it's EXALTEDoreo. Just a random that I met online that was pretty decent, that, you know, that I felt deserved some showcasing. Because, yeah. And I'll take that as a win, just because he fell off the edge. Oh, you gotta watch the environment, my friend. You gotta watch the environment. But, yeah. Yeah, this area is one of the few left that were open, though, because the Berg is so ridiculous to try to get some solid duels in. Because, you know, there's just, it's such a hot spot, even with, you know, after the whole, everything that the Berg has gone through. It's been through so many changes. But his quality build's good. I mean, quality builds, once you get good with them, you can master so many different weapons that they're, you know, they're quite a range of stuff. Like, he has the halberd and the rapier he switch in between. So he has like a long poke, a spin, you know, that downwards attack that he has. And then, you know, the rapier is, of course, the poke, which is what finishes me off, and he has the armor to just sort of poise through my little shoulder attack. And right now we're 1-1 on the 7v7 here. So we each need 2 more wins, and that secures the victory. We're going through here. I'm just trying to be all free aiming here, because with a Pyromancer, it's all about control and making your opponent feel like they aren't in control. That's how a Pyromancer is going to win. He catches me on an arrow right there, which I thought was crazy. I almost parried that. It was a partial parry, but it wasn't enough to do anything too great here. I'm running around with both weapons like an idiot. I don't know if I'm going to die, but I can only imagine that I die here. Okay, we trade shots with the Pyro. Did a little bit more damage to Great Combustion. Trying to switch it up. He's using the bow. I'm trying to just run around free running. Just, you know, throw them off, because when you're free running around, the people with the bow, they can't really hit you too well unless you stop to attack, which is what they hope to do, but that's not always the best bet in their case. Now, he's beating me in health here, although it's still pretty close, or at least close enough to where I can pull through. That bow, I remember him saying, he was just like, the bow, the arrow was in me, but it didn't kill me, but, you know, what you do, it's a ninja flip. But he switched up to a spear, and that spear, or actually, was that even a spear? I think it was a ball or side sword. I can't tell. But right now it's 2-1 his lead, so he only needs is his last victory. And yeah, so I'm trying to definitely show up here, because he keeps switching weapons, trying to, you know, to show his mastery of different things. Because if you have a quality build that can only use like a claymore or a ball or side sword, or maybe a katana, you're just, you know, you're not that great. Because if you can use what anybody can use, that's pretty lame. Here he does something remarkable, although it is a fast roll. He was able to roll through all the lava pits, which is, it takes some skill to be able to do that, especially being the chaos with the lava. He's able to get 2 hits off with me right there, so I'm really trying to make it be this close fight here. I don't want him to just end this duel here. Throwing a whip his way, because I love those chaos whips. Those chaos whips are ridiculously awesome. He clips me again here, tries to get me in with that second hit, but the second hit did not connect. Now we're running close. We're both on the last leg. I feel I'm a little bit... actually, I think we're actually pretty even. I was going to say he was a little bit closer, but really, looking at his and looking at my health bar, we're both pretty even. He tries to do a rolling attack, but that's not enough here for me. I was thinking about the Chaos Storm, but with only 3 and him having a bow and arrow, I feel I'm going to die. I'm just running in circles here, trying to make him think I'm going to get out of that soon, but I'm going to end up not, because he had the bow still loaded here, so I wasn't trying to do all that. Playing really, really cautiously, because bow and arrow, I mean, that'll kill me. We're both like 1 hit away from death. I mean, maybe the rapier hit might not kill me, but I mean, with the running attack, it could, because it does the 2 hits. So I'm just trying to play really, really cautiously. It would have hit him, but he rolled through it, so it's fine. Now, I sort of fake doing the Chaos Storm just to kind of trip him out of it. Just sort of pushing him against the wall, but of course he has that arrow to fall back on, so he's okay with falling back. He doesn't mind too much. He's not like a pyramidally built where they'll just shit their pants or anything. Which is smart to where if you're running a 40-40 quality that you should have something ranged to fall back on. At the very least, like dung pies or fire bombs, but an arrow is good too. Especially in place of the shield. He pokes me a little bit there, which gets me down to fatal range for literally he could sneeze on me and I might pass out because Izalith is a little girl. But we're literally just going toe-to-toe here, where I'm just trying to chip his health away. He's just trying to get anything off of me, just that way he can finish the fight and call it a day. Do a running attack, but I miss, and he pokes with a delayed poke. But the black flame hits. He tried to block, but the block wasn't enough. It didn't finish him off. Now we are down to the last fight here. So we're both trying to make it work here. My Great Combustion stopped his attack there. So I think that second attack was just an input error. He didn't mean to really do another attack so close to that. Or at least I wouldn't think so. I did a lucky run dodge there. Thankfully those halberds have that vertical attack. But not so lucky there because it does get me. Whip does nothing. Fireball, 2 aerials leave lava. Arrow, I just looked in the face and he got me. Doing the left and the right, so don't call it spammers. Spamming, it's really not. I have 2 pyro flames. I can do it twice and not be called a spammer. Because if you had 2 swords and hit left and hit right, you would be spamming. So, get off my case. So he's got me down pretty low again now. And we're pretty much down to our last legs here, although I think he has a little bit more health than I do. So if I need to make it close, I need to do some damage. Because if we were to do one final trade, he'd probably come out on top. So I get a great black flame on him, so now we're toe-to-toe here again. Now we're each fatal range away from each other. He's got that arrow going, so I'm just doing my little run around here. He just shoots it off once or twice just to, just say whatever. And the fire bombs he's just throwing just because I was a little ways away from him and he knows the arrows weren't going to hit. I have my shoulder ready just for a running attack, the fire surge getting going. And this is the end here, folks. This is a true battle of the builds, featuring the Hermaeus Mora, also known as White Boy, and the EXALTEDoreo, or EXALTEDoreo, not there's no V, but still I'll call it by a title. And it's been a good fight, man. And we ended ties all around, so gotta say, good game. I hope you all enjoyed, and